Greetings. In this video, we are going to look into the history of Karuppar, who is a folk deity worshipped primarily in Tamilakam. So, on the contemporary, Karuppanaswamy as a deity is still in the limelight. His popularity is rising as we speak, and people of different ethnicities around the globe have started to worship him. So to start off, let us look into the morphological aspects of this deity. We start with Sri Karuppar. Sri Karuppar, Karuppanaswamy or Karuppaswamy, all these three terminologies denote the same deity, is the prototype of the Karuppar Vamsam or lineage. This means that there are many other individualized consciousness or identities of Karuppar along the line after Sri Karuppar. So, the deity is described as a ferocious looking warrior-like figure who is dark in color, often depicted blue, handsomely mustached, adorned with a Tirunamam, which is the Vaishnavite tilak, who holds a bill-hooked machete or a sword, an aruval as we call it in Tamil, and who rides a white horse. These are the standard features of Sri Karuppar or the prototype Karuppar. The widely accepted legend behind Sri Karuppar dates back to the period of Ramayana. Kusha, the brother of Lava, who is the child of Sri Rama, is said to be Karuppar. When Mother Sita was sent to exile in the forest, she delivered a son, who was Lava. And once Mother Sita left Lava to be day-cared by the sage Valmiki in her absence. The sage slipped into meditation and he later found Lava missing when he came back to his senses. Now, to handle this emergency, Sage Valmiki created a look-alike child using darbha grass to replace the missing Lava, which he felt responsible for as a caretaker. However, the real Lava was actually safe with his mother. Perhaps he found his way to Mother Sita when his babysitter went into meditation. Upon Mother Sita's meet-up with the sage, she found this darbha-made child. So now we have two children who looked alike. A situation arose where they were unable to differentiate the real Lava from the darbha-born child, who was Kusha. In order to differentiate the children, they were asked to walk through a fire test. Lava braves it unhurt, while Kusha somewhat gets charred into a dark-skinned child. Later on, Sri Rama blesses Kusha as his guardian deity. The narrative presented goes across the nation and different cultures with slight variation, but they essentially centralize on Kusha being Karuppar. Kusha in Sanskrita refers to the darbha grass. In many Karuppar temples, notably the famous Padinathampadi Karuppar of Alagar temple in Madurai, the Dhyana Shloka, the invocatory prayer describing the deity to be meditated upon, sung in Tamil, addresses the deity as he who is born out of darbha. And Karuppar's tilak, the forehead marking, indicates a Vaishnavite relation too. There is also a significant parallel between Lord Kalki and Karuppanaswamy. Kalki is considered to be the 10th avatara of Mahavishnu. Now, other Karuppars along the line. Sri Karuppar, as mentioned earlier, is the prototype in the Karuppar system. There are other forms of Karuppar as well. They have their own name, feature, history, and traits. Many have confusion regarding this. They confuse other forms of Karuppar and associate them with Sri Karuppar. There are 108 identities recognized. 108 forms of Karuppar recognized, with 18 being prominent. Let's look at some of these famous identities. For example, Sangli Karuppar, who is one of the most well-known identities among the 108 Karuppars. His history dates back to the era when Madurai was ruled by Tirumalai Nayakar. He was the leader of the Piranmalai Kallars, meaning the Kallars who were associated with the forest region. Madurai Veeran, another well-known guardian deity, coexisted with Sangli Karuppar. If you notice the features of Sangli, he is different from Sri Karuppar. Sangli Karuppar does not wield a sword, despite it being considered as an important insignia of Karuppar worship. He wields a spear instead, or a lance, and is wrapped in chain. Another famous form, the Padinathampadi Karuppar, or the Karuppar of the 18 steps. He is also known as the Malayala Karuppar. Legends say that Malayala Karuppar appeared to the priest who protected the temple in the form of a pitch-black warrior with matted locks, wielding a long sword. He promised to guard Alagar temple. Similarly, there are other unique forms of Karuppar. For example, Periya Karuppar, Chinna Karuppar, Nondi Karuppar, and so forth. In different cultures, the deity is also coined with a different term. For example, Karuppar is referred to as Bhuta Raja in Sri Lanka. Ultimately, they all express the same energy. They respond fast to one's prayer, protect dharma, safeguard justice, and have control over time and space dimension. In other words, they are the very folk forms of Kala Bhairava, who is the ferocious aspect of Lord Shiva. Karuppars are associated with both Shaivism and Vaishnavism. He is also seen as the fierce aspect of Lord Vishnu, for example, as Lord Narasimha. You can access Karuppar even if you associate him with Vishnu Tattva. Now the picture that you're seeing, this is the Ashtabhairava system. We can see the parallel of the Karuppar system to that of this Bhairava system. The picture depicts the Ashtabhairavas, the 8 expressions of Bhairava led by Kala Bhairava, who is illustrated centrally in the diagram, who is the standard form of Bhairava, like how Sri Karuppar is the standard form in the Karuppar system. Note that each Bhairava is unique in their own way. They have their own Vahana, vehicle, attributes and form. 60 more forms of Bhairavas branch from these Ashtabhairavas. So that totals up to 68 forms of Bhairava, excluding the prototype Kala Bhairava. Apply the same principle to the Karuppar system to get a clearer picture. For example, this is the Suvarna Akshara Bhairava. He does not really have a ferocious or fierce form as how we would generally expect a form of Bhairava to be. He sits with his consort and blesses devotees with wealth. A form of Bhairava who gives wealth, heard of it? Yes, he exists. Now, whichever form of Karuppar you worship them with the adhered protocol. If you are going into rituals, it may be better to learn up about the forms properly. For example, the shrine of a Sangli Karuppar must have a chain. An Aruval or a bill-hooked machete may not be favorable or even necessary in a Sangli Karuppar shrine. On the other hand, Padinathampadi Karuppar's primary worship is that of in a form of an Aruval. So that's a brief highlight and introduction history on Karuppar.